So hello everyone. Today we have the honor of having another beautiful Black woman with us today to talk about her entrepreneur journey. We're going to begin with her introducing herself and her business to you. Go right ahead.
Okay. All right. My name is Shanquell Wilson, and I am the owner and designer of the Olivia Home Collection, which is a luxury decorative pillow company.
Oh, wonderful. So how long have you been in business?
It's been 2 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And starting your business, what would you say was the number one thing that motivated you to start your business?
Well, the number one motivation would be one, my love for home decor. Okay. I love everything about design. And also, I could never find the pillows that gave me a wow factor. Like if I had some type of design idea or style that I wanted, going into the stores and things like that, I could not find something that I just absolutely love. So that's what started it for me.
Okay, so basically your
Yeah.
desire for what you wanted to see around you in your home
Yes.
led you to be creative. So have you always had a creative side?
Yeah, actually, I have all like I think I can do all things. That's the problem. That's the problem. So, yeah, I have like just from younger, like I've always had like some type of business mind or trying to figure out, oh, I can sell this. Let me try to make this. And it all started with like my mom, she used to make plaster ceramics, and I was always in awe of that, watching her do that. So it kind of nurtured that in me to start just like DIYing things. So that's kind of how it
Right.
started. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, nice. So in starting your business, we talk a lot about how we first got started, what first got us started. And in that process, there are always challenges.
Yeah.
So, in starting your business, what would you say is one of your most memorable challenges, and how did you overcome that challenge?
Sure. Well, my most memorable challenge would be really just getting started as it relates to the pillow make, because I don't know how to sew anything. Let's start there. Okay. So that was it. And so with the idea of thinking, okay, well, let me just learn how to sew, it shouldn't be that big of a deal, and okay, buy a sewing machine, now what? Right. So it took me to it, like I wind up meeting a lady that said she was going to teach me and all of that, and that was such a blessing. But it took me 30 days to sew one pillow. That's
Oh,
what I knew, like going to her house and after work, a couple of hours and things like that. That's when I knew that this isn't for me, like to do it, right? Because you want to put a quality product out. And
right.
so that doesn't mean that I have to make it in order for that to be possible. So
Ah,
the first challenge was for me to even find someone to do it for me. So looking for a manufacturer was my first challenge. And that was really
okay,
the biggest one because that's the product itself. So yeah.
right.
And
Oh,
as far as overcoming it, I wind up finding somebody, love her. Sometimes she provides insight to different vendors and things like that. So that was the way to overcome it, just embracing the fact that I couldn't do it, but
right,
nevertheless not giving up to still move forward to just find somebody to do it for me.
right. I
Yeah.
like that. I like that. And that's a very good point because a lot of times we can talk ourselves out of doing something or starting a business because okay, I don't know how to do that, so
Right.
it's not be it for me. But
Yeah.
there are other avenues to get it done.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, definitely. Just not giving up. Yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes. So you spoke earlier about your mother kind of being a
Mhm.
role model. So with her ceramics, was she making those for her own use or was she selling those?
No,
Was
she
that
was
her
selling
business?
those.
Okay.
She was selling those. We used to go to a flea market like on the weekends, every other weekend, things like that. but it starts with, knowing the consistency for the plaster, putting it in the mold, and then hand painting those. So it was something that she did herself, and we would go
Oh,
to the market.
okay.
Yeah.
So when you think about your any mentors you had during your process of building your business, was your mother one of those mentors, or were there other business owners that mentored you?
Yes, definitely. She played a role with, the desire to do things like that, but that I also was poured into by local designers. Just when I had the idea at first, like I just started with the logo because that was the first thing that came to mind. Like, oh, if I want to have a brand, you should get a logo first. So I
Oh,
started like wearing shirts around things like that. But even with that, still didn't have one pillow design, right?
right.
Because really because it was the fear of doing it. Like once you put
Oh,
it out there, you
mm,
have to then move forward. So as long as I'm not talking about it, I don't have to hold up to, something that I said, right?
right,
So
right.
and having a conversation with a local designer, she was like, you have like just start, just start. Like once you put your foot in the water, you'll be amazed how things will unfold. And that's exactly how it happened. It's like
Oh,
once I began to vocalize what I wanted to do, I knew that I was going to hold myself to a standard and
mm,
also learn in the process. And that's exactly how it happened. So I think her to this day for doing that because as long as I was silent,
uh-huh.
I couldn't hold myself accountable to what I said I was going to do. But the minute that I opened my mouth, it was full steam ahead after that.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
And I see you have your logo behind you. What a
Yeah.
beautiful logo. So,
Thank you.
yeah, that's very nice.
Mhm.
So, what inspires you to select the collection that you select for your pillow covers? Because they
Sure.
are really different,
Yeah.
and they have a different feel to them, a different energy. Just looking at them, they're beautiful. So,
Yeah.
what
Thank you.
inspires you with what you choose?
Sure. So for me, like I strive to select velvets I absolutely love. Like a velvet is something like velvet to me speaks luxury. It's not a seasonal fabric, meaning you can have that summer, spring, winter, fall, everything like that. And I also look for fabrics and patterns that I don't see in everyday box stores. Like I know that I'm not gonna go to, we know all the names like your Home
Right.
Goods and TJ Maxx, things like that. You're not going to see those there. And that's important to me because that's the places, and I love those stores. Don't get me wrong, I'm there
Mhm.
all the time. Okay.
Uh-huh.
But I know that when I used to go there looking for the very thing that I was, when I initially started, that I couldn't find though, like just that statement pillow for myself.
Right.
So that's how I select. Like I source things that I know that I'm not gonna find when I go to the everyday box store.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Wonderful. One of the things about getting a business off the ground, besides working past that, taking the first step after the idea of it, is usually the funding of it. Like, where do I get the money to get this started?
Um,
So, how was
yeah.
that journey for you and your funding process? Was it personal funds? Was it investments from others? Was it bank loans, grants? How was that funding process for
Sure.
you?
It's all personal funded. It is
Okay,
funded personally. I do have a full-time career. So it's a, business, especially as a solopreneur, as we call, like
right.
doing all the things like that.
Mm,
That's how it is. And for me, every pillow sale that I make, it's regenerated back into my business. So it's personal funding, and continuously that way. And of course, until just from hearing stories from other people when they say like businesses in the first couple of years, it could be discouraging because you're not like your output definitely doesn't equate to what you're bringing in. But the broader and the bigger picture is for you to reinvest that money and eventually, you'll begin to see, being in the black, as they call it.
Right, right. That's
Yeah,
a very good point you make because usually it is said that it takes 5 years for a business to turn a profit,
I
a
can see
real
that.
profit. And to your point,
Mhm.
up until that time, you're making sales, but that income is being reinvested in your
Yeah,
business so you can continue the business, for
right.
5 years and beyond. And a
Yeah,
lot of entrepreneurs I find get discouraged when at the beginning they don't see those profits, right?
yeah.
And
Mhm.
they don't see that the build up for those sales is a slower process.
Yeah.
Takes
Mhm.
months, to get things off the ground, to get it going, and sometimes they can get discouraged, and which is one of the many reasons a lot of businesses don't last that 5 year term, that 5 year mark.
Yeah.
One of the things that I find is very frustrating to us as solo entrepreneurs is when we do go out to seek funding or to apply for a grant.
Yeah.
When we find the details, the fine print, as they say, says that you have to have, so many $1,000 of revenue already in your business, and you're thinking, "Well, that's why I'm trying to get this grant
Right,
so
that's
that
why
I
I'm at.
can." Right. So
Uh-huh.
it's like a catch 22, and
Yeah.
for the life of me, I don't understand why. I'm like, is this really for a small business then? If you want me to be that profitable,
Mhm.
I wouldn't be looking for your grant or your funds if I was that profitable already.
Right. Like you wish it was tiers, like to be able
Yeah.
to say, like, if you have revenue from this to this, or, that level to that level to be able to be eligible for those things. And sometimes it's like just to apply for a grant could be intimidating. So you would
Yes.
definitely have to do the research to know what's required, like what they're looking for and things like that. So if anybody knows a good grant writer, that's a great resource to have.
Mm,
Yeah.
good to know. Good to know. So when you think about your product lines, how
Mhm.
did you go about well first, who do you consider to be your target market?
My target market, well, to start would be home decor lovers, right? So,
Uh-huh.
and I try very hard not to put an age restriction on that because I remember being younger and still caring about the things that were around me as it related to the decor. So, but to be specific, I would say anywhere from 35 to 55.
Uh-huh.
Women, that want to style their homes and know exactly what they're looking for, and also to knowing like price points and things like that as it relates to
Right.
quality of products. So
Mm.
if I had to say specifically, it would be women ages 35 to 55 that would know exactly what they're looking for.
Okay, wonderful. And I'm glad you brought up price points because that's another area that we struggle in a lot as solopreneurs.
Yeah.
We either try to price our products so that anyone can afford it,
Hmm.
right? And it's not sustainable because the price is not uh, good enough to keep us in business,
Yeah.
right? We're almost doing it for free.
Right.
So have you had any struggles around, what should my price be for this particular product or for this line? And if you have or have not, if you haven't, how did you deal with it? If you have, what was your response to that?
Well, yeah, that definitely is a struggle because like you mentioned, like you want the sale is the goal. And I
Yes.
think that especially solo, if you are new to business, that's just what you want to do, just have a sale happen. But I began to do research in that area to know how to price things. Like, of course, you want to make a profit, but you have to incorporate all of the costs associated to get to that bottom line with your product.
Uh-huh.
And And especially that's why I lean in and talk about quality and then also say luxury as it relates to my brand, because I know that the fabrics that I source are just that. Like I know that there's definitely a wide range of upholstery fabrics that are out there, but they can be pricey if people were to ever price per yard what the different deep cut velvets and things like that actually cost. So that's why I know if you know exactly what you're looking for,
Mm-hmm.
then and know the quality behind the actual product, then it's not a sticker shock to you to see that price.
Mm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the difference because of course I do know, yes, you can go buy pillows anywhere, right?
Uh-huh.
You can definitely buy pillows anywhere, but you won't find those types of upholstery fabrics that these pillows are made out of. So I think that doing the research, knowing your product, knowing what your bottom line is, like making sure like the calculation, like your manufacturing costs, like your product costs, everything associated with getting that product to your customer is what entails calculating what that price is. And I do have a different range of prices as it relates to pillows because some are less than others, but you just believe in what it is that you're selling, really is what it
Mm.
is. And I think that too often that we are willing to price less just
Mm.
to be able to get the sale. So that's why it's more like a slow boogie process in the beginning,
Right.
because if you're standing behind and you believe in the product in which you sell, the sales will come. So
Mm.
that's where I am. So it's a struggle, I think, but it's about educating yourself, and I'm just
Mm.
forever learning to try to figure out and make sure that, because of course and in addition to that, I wouldn't sell it for more than what I'm willing to pay for it, right? So
Mm.
that's important to me as well. So
Got
it's
it.
just
Got it.
about educating yourself. That's really
Got
what it
it.
is.
Got
Yeah,
it.
you have to know what your costs are before you can price anything. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very good point. Very good point. So knowing all the costs involved, being sure that the price your selling price can cover all those costs,
Right.
give you the revenue, the profit that you need to stay in business,
Correct.
and also being aware that your consumer, your particular target market, should be also be aware of the quality that you're offering.
Correct.
So, which
Yeah.
is one reason why we have a target market, because nothing is for everybody.
Right. Yeah.
Nothing, there's not one thing that everybody loves. So,
Right. Exactly.
you
Yeah.
define who your customer is, and
Mhm.
it sounds like you're saying that you took into consideration that your customer is one that knows quality and wants quality. So it's
Correct.
intentional in doing that. They understand what what the cost of quality is.
Right.
So
Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah.
so they know it's a great deal or a great value when they see it.
Right.
Wonderful.
Mhm.
So let's talk about marketing your business for a minute. How do you market your business? Are there any platforms that you find are more successful to others?
Mhm.
And how do you get most of your clients?
For marketing, for me, it is social media based. So we're talking about Instagram, preferably. I know that there are other platforms out there, like the different posts that I make. Some of them are tied to Facebook, yes, but Instagram is going to be the biggest social platform. And
Okay.
I have been diligently working on trying to do more marketing as it relates to email campaigns and things like that. Just again, going back to educating myself, knowing that yes, people are on social media for entertainment purposes, not necessarily for purchases, right?
Uh-huh.
So if you have people that have subscribed to your website, that means that they are specifically interested in what it is that you have to offer. So I have to begin to start cultivating more campaigns for my emails. So did social media to begin with, but as of this month, I'm gonna do more email campaigning to be able to speak directly to the audience that has subscribed to my website.
I got you. I like
Yeah.
that. That's a very good point because
Mhm.
you're right on social media. A lot of people are going there to be entertained, to,
Right.
watch some videos, some
Right.
reels, and, and unless you are paying for ads there,
Yeah. Yeah.
right, they may you it's like a hit or miss,
Right.
right? So, your point about targeting the customers that have enter their email address on your website. They've connected with you there, then you know they're already interested specifically in your product. So
Right.
that's the richest market to go after. You're more
Yeah.
likely to make sales with them than
Then with
randomly,
social media.
right, on
Yeah.
social media, right. So you're
Yeah.
you're targeting that.
Mm.
Wonderful. So in business, the entrepreneur journey, I say, it's not just about the business, but
Mhm.
it's also so much about the person.
Yeah.
So it involves so much personal growth, spiritual growth,
Yeah.
and not just the business informational growth. And I think mindset is a big part of it. So a lot of times entrepreneurs find they're not going or they feel stuck, and
Mhm.
it's not because they need a new or different business process. A lot of times it's because they need a there's an area of personal growth they need to tend to, right?
Mhm.
It could be they need to be able to discuss their business more, to talk about it
Mhm.
more with other people. So
Yeah.
they need to have that confidence to do that. Or it can be a myriad of things. So, in thinking about your business journey so far, what growth or mindset challenges have you come upon, and had to work your way through? And what did that look like for you?
Sure. So challenge wise, I would say, just like you said, the in the beginning, knowing that if I were to be stagnant in any area, that's why I always take it back to learning, because it's so much about business that I don't know. And you're
Hmm.
talking about speaking from a area where, oh, I have a product I want to sell, but there is so much that encompasses the business aspect of that, right?
Hmm.
And so when sales are slow and things like that, I always dive back into what do I need to learn in order to generate either more sales. And I also I'll pray about it as well. Like if it's something that where I feel like I'm, just at a standstill or feeling discouraged in any capacity, then
Uh-huh.
I'll pray about it, because like I believe in what I'm doing, right? I believe in what I'm doing. I think that this is something that, like, as far as business, this is something that God placed in my life, and I'm gonna just fulfill that in all aspects of that. So definitely a walking by faith situation. Um, so yeah, I definitely feel that you just take it back to the beginning.
Mm.
Just take it back to the beginning, because it's always, you don't know what you don't know. And as
Right.
long as you continue to be a student as it relates to business, and I know eventually, people could get teams and things like that, but as of today,
Right.
we're doing we're
Right.
doing everything, right? And so if
Yes.
you look at all of the different roles that you're playing in your business, you're the operations, you are the marketer, you're the like everything, CEO, CFO, you're doing your finances and all of that.
Yes.
It's always something you can learn. So
Mhm.
if, like, pause and embrace the fact that that you may be stale in an area, but just take it back to learn. I just always draw it back to learning, and that's how I'll get out of that. Yeah.
Okay. Are there any particular resources that you have found to be very helpful to you during your business journey?
Yes, I love Canva. Like, Canva
Okay.
is one as far as like your graphics and things like that.
Uh-huh.
Currently I am a member of the Sufficiently Social Society, which is a membership for entrepreneurs, and if women, it's a group of women that a lot of them are on their business journeys, uh, different ranges as years in business,
Okay.
but we are able to have a like it's a platform to be able to bounce ideas off of each other and just kind of work through any of the business challenges that you have. There's also trainings that are offered within this membership. So I think that that is an excellent resource.
Okay.
Alicia Noel is the person that is the owner of that subscription based group,
Okay.
and it's wonderful. Like I go to them for a lot of advice. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. Any other networking activities you do? Because a lot of times networking is one of the areas that we shy away from, right? People don't like to be in the spotlight and have to talk about what they do. They'd rather just do it and let the sales magically happen. So,
Yeah, that is a challenge for me. Like
mhm.
this just doing this is that please do please know that you're talking about being outside of a comfort for sure. So no, I can't say right now that I have partaken in any other networking things, but I'm
Okay.
working on getting out of that zone and trying, like how you say, be comfortable with getting uncomfortable is what
Yes.
I need to do. So,
Mhm.
how you say, there's no time like the present. So as of today, as
Yes.
of today, we're working on doing, more networking and just talking more about my business because that's not something that I do. Because this deep dive is all of that, right? Because
Okay.
I never, you're talking about this just being in front of a camera and all of the
Yes.
things about being on, because like you said, if you have a product, you can show the product all day long. But if I am my marketer, then I have to be comfortable with talking about it. So
Yes.
that's goals that I'm setting for myself to be able to be more social
Uh-huh.
about talking about the product that I have. So yeah. So
Okay.
thank you for this again.
You are very welcome. And you made some very good points there. Like it does involve stepping outside of your comfort zone because most of us don't become entrepreneurs because we're great public speakers and
Right.
we are the great people person. We are we just find there's something creative or there's a service or product or something that we are compelled to share with others,
Yeah.
right? So if we could just find a way to share that and get it out there without having to represent it, we would. But
Right.
to your point, in the beginning, we wear all the hats.
Yeah.
So if the solopreneur is not out there marketing her own business, no one is, right?
Right.
If you're not talking about it, nobody's talking about it for you.
Right.
So it's one of the first areas we have to kind of be comfortable being uncomfortable
Right.
and getting out there, talking to others, finding opportunities and investing in those opportunities.
Yeah.
So kudos to you
Yeah.
for setting that as one of your goals.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And so, in thinking about goals, have you established any plans for your business growth, like where you want to be in a year from now or 5 years from now? Have you thought that far ahead in advance?
Yes, I have. What, like, I know it right now, it's e-commerce, of course, it's online based, but I can't necessarily say that I have a desire to have a brick and mortar. I know a lot of people that's goes for them, but I
Uh-huh.
know the cost associated with that. Like, of course,
Mhm.
like God can do anything, of course, we know, and you follow the path that if you're led that way. But I would like to be like in a storefronts, something like I would love to walk into a store and have a display of the Olivia Home
Got it.
Collection pillows within. Like that would be it for me, like right
Got
there,
it.
to be able to have uh distribution like a in surrounding states, and then it could be countrywide, absolutely. But so that would be it for me. So right now I'm trying to work on getting into boutiques first, like starting
Okay.
to target some of my local interior stores that are in the area. So I would
Uh-huh.
say within a year's time, I would hope that that would be a reality for me, and then start cultivating, like just what I'm saying about getting into some larger stores, but by way of display, but keeping the branding as it is, and being able to have my pillows on display within those stores. Yeah.
Got it.
Mhm.
Got it. So your goal entails you being a brand in different stores as
Yeah.
opposed to just having your standalone store full of all your own products.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Like if that was to come, I embrace it absolutely, but I can't say within, that time frame that that's what I would look to have a brick and mortar. No, I wouldn't say that.
Got
But
it.
but God can do anything.
Got
Definitely.
it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So when we think about the entrepreneur journey, there is always, I think, a challenge to have a balance in how much time you devote to your business,
Mhm.
how much time you devote to your family, how much time you take for yourself. How do you navigate that process? What does that look like for you?
Sure. For me, I am a early riser, right? So I get up early and that's solitude in the house for me. That gives me time to be, and that's usually when if I'm working on my business, that's the time frame because that's before everybody rises and things like
Mhm.
that. And I just set tasks that I'm trying to accomplish in that time frame. And I also have a schedule. So I'm working on like marketing on certain days. And then like for Fridays for me are all about finance. That's how I keep and so that way I'm not bouncing all over the place. Like you have, especially if you are doing everything and you have all of the roles in order to get structure within your business,
Right,
you have to have some type of system in place to say on this day, this is what I'm working on. And then keeping those notes so that way when you have to come back to that day, if you're doing your marketing on Tuesdays, you know where you left off
got
because
it.
you don't have all day long to be able to dedicate to that, right? Like if you
Right,
have kids and your family and you're working and all of that like that, and it can be overwhelming, but I'm more task oriented. So just
okay,
keeping organized with that and checking things off shows me the progress that I'm making. Even if I need to learn something about a particular thing, I'm gonna write that down so I can always come back to it in case I don't remember or whatever. But that's how I navigate those things. I do go to bed early, but I get up before everybody. I get up before everybody else, and that's that quiet time, right? That's that time in the house where you won't have any interruptions before everybody gets up and start going about their day and me going to work and things like that. And that's how I'm able to stay on track with the things that I need to do.
got it. I like that. Those are
Yeah.
very good points to have a schedule to segregate what you do on certain days
Yeah.
and to keep track of where you left off on that so that when you come back to it the next week, you can just dive in and keep moving.
Right.
Yeah, that's a very good idea because I know a lot of us, to the point where we are wearing all the hats, you
Right.
can end up jumping around, in
Yeah.
one day, just doing a little bit of everything because you feel like everything is urgent. I know one of my entrepreneurs shared that you have to consider what's urgent versus what's important, right?
Yeah.
Because it may be time sensitive, but it might not be the most important thing to do. Like it can
Right.
only be done at this time, but is it more important than something else you need to get done at this time?
Yeah.
So instead of doing the urgent thing all the time, do the prioritize and do what's most important
Right.
first.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of keeps you straight, right? Because and that's how it can become overwhelming, which then turns into a discourager, right? Because
Yes.
no one wants to feel like they're failing in any capacity. So you have to have forward progression. And so
Right.
that those are the wins for me for to get something accomplished. And I remember even when it came to my website, like my son, he too always when he was younger, like wanting to sell things like that. And we were
Uh-huh.
having a conversation. I used to get up early in the morning, try to work on my website, never built a website ever in my life. But I'm like,
Uh-huh.
okay, I'm gonna learn this, right? So so I would get up at that time, like I talked about, and try to, oh, okay, I can do it, I can do it. And I remember talking to him one time, and I said, it's okay to ask for help if it's something that you don't know how to do. And I had to pause, and I'm like, I said, Shanquell, like I'm telling this child, and I'm sitting here racking my brain every day trying to
Yes.
figure out how to build a website for something that I know A would be something that would be is vital to my business. And I don't know what I'm doing. Like, okay,
Yes.
I give me a check on the board for me trying. But then I had to pivot and invest it in getting someone to build it for me. And it made all of the difference. You're talking about the headache was gone. So
Yes.
so
Yes.
you have to be willing to know when to pivot in the things that you can do versus the things that you need to delegate to somebody else. Because I say that that doesn't make you any less of a boss if you have to say that I don't know how to do this. Let
Right.
me get someone that can. And you talking about wiped all the tears away. Like it was the best thing ever. And it was just the innocence of talking to a child, but also listening to my own advice. Like that's really what
Yes.
it was.
Yes. I love that. I love that because I've been there, done that. And
Yeah.
that's one of the I think the pitfalls we can fall into and having to do it all, feeling like that means we forget that we can manage the process.
Yeah.
You don't have to
Yeah.
be the 100% creator of every single part of the business. We can manage some parts of it
Right.
and understanding, okay, would it be, where would it reduce my stress and frustration?
Mhm.
Where would it increase the efficiency because it would get done quicker and better?
Oh, right, yeah.
If I was to pay a subcontractor, freelancer to do
Yeah.
this for me and they can get it done in a day, right?
Right.
Where I'm trying to learn how to do something more complex than I ever want to know how
Yeah,
to do.
yeah.
I find that a lot with accounting also. A lot of times we're trying to figure out how to structure and manage the finances as
Mhm.
opposed to getting someone who specializes in that. And that's what they do and having them set it up and make it as easy as possible for us.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
definitely. That is
very
so
good.
true. Yeah.
Mhm. So when you think about self-care and mental
Mhm.
wellness, because I'm a huge advocate of us taking care of our mental wellness,
Mhm.
taking time to have what I call sacred care with ourselves, because in building a business, especially when you have a full-time job, so you're doing it
Mhm.
after hours or before hours
Right.
or
Mhm.
sometimes on the weekend, it can be difficult to take the time you need to yourself without feeling guilty,
Mhm.
without constantly thinking about what you could be doing in your business, as opposed to realizing that time is necessary so you can keep going, you can be renewed. So how do you manage your self-care as an entrepreneur?
Well, that is a priority for me to have self-care for myself because it balances everything out. And I start that with just like skincare. Like I have as of late have been dedicating time, and it's been so relaxing for me because it's almost like you're showing up for yourself, right? Because
Mm.
you show up for everybody. Like if somebody were to call and need or whatever, I'm there, I'm on the spot with it. But sometimes you are to the back of the line with that. And so skincare for me has been something where it feels like I'm showing up for myself and also seeing the benefits of that. So
Ah.
that's the positive reinforcement for me to continue to do it. And it's such a like a ritual where my husband
Mm.
is like, it take all that. I'm like, look. This is helping the mental right here,
Right.
so that's really what it is. So I'm starting there. Like I've been trying to do more massages, things like that,
Uh-huh.
getting facials by professionals, just little small things, like even taking a walk, like that's too still some type of mental release
Yes.
to be able to just like put it, put it in the universe or whatever, if that's what you need to say. But
Yes.
that's how I've been balancing it, and it feels good, and there is,
Mhm.
how you say, guilt free, right? It's all about
Yes.
guilt free. You have to, because if you have to continue to pour into yourself, because if you always are pouring out, you have to fill it back up. So
Right,
yeah,
right.
starting with skincare for me. Yeah.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
beautiful. I love
Yeah.
hearing that. I
Mhm.
love hearing that. Yes, we have to fill our cup first. I say fill your cup first and then serve others from the overflow.
Yes.
Otherwise, you have an empty cup. What do you have to give?
What do you have? Exactly.
Nothing.
Yeah, that's so true.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I love hearing that. So, did you, when you were younger,
Mhm.
what were some of the jobs you had when you were younger?
Well, when I was younger, I first started out working as a shampoo assistant in a hair salon.
Okay.
That's where I had the desire to be a cosmetologist.
Uh-huh.
And then from there, I worked at a shoe store. So I worked at a local shoe store when I was younger.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. So what would you say you love most and you love least about being an entrepreneur?
Oh, okay. Let's start with the least. Let's
Okay.
start with the least. Okay. The least, I would say, um, if having to do everything, like, right, well, like in this solopreneur stage, because I'm not claiming that to be forever, right?
Yes.
So I would say that that's the least, because again, sometimes that can feel overwhelming, and we want to, like, no one wants to sign up for negative feelings.
Uh-huh.
So that's what I would say, like feeling like you have to do it all. But to counter the negative thought, I too still have to, sometimes you have to still bounce ideas off of people and be willing to talk about it, and also admit the things that you don't know, because you never know who's in the room that may have the solution to the problem that you're having at the time. And that then takes me full circle back to the discomfort of doing that very thing. So that's
Uh-huh.
why I would say that that's the least for me, because it's putting me in a position to do things that I'm not comfortable doing, but I also too am embracing that. And that's a blessing to me, to be able to say that I'm facing something that I'm not comfortable doing.
Mm.
So that's the least, okay?
Uh-huh.
And so for my favorite thing, or the thing that I like the most, is being able to navigate and doing it the way that I want to. That so
Mm.
if like if it's a policy, or if it's a, like if I want to put this zipper on this, what like making the decision,
Right.
that would be the thing that I like the most. Being able to just foster something that you want, and not necessarily having to, I'm not gonna say answer, because that's not the way that I feel, but being able to just be that decider, because
Right.
it
Not
is
have to
definitely,
compromise with
yeah,
someone
it,
else's idea.
right. It's
You get the
because of
last
your
decision.
business. Right. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Mhm.
So have you ever wanted to quit your business? Have you ever wanted to just throw your hands up and say, "Why am I even doing this?" Have you
Yeah,
had those
sometimes.
moments?
Yeah, I have had that, but well, let me say this, it would be based on lack of sales, right? Because we're in business to make money. That's
Right.
just what it is. So
Mhm.
sometimes when you, like, if sales aren't happening, that too can be a discourager.
Mhm.
But I always take it back to me knowing that this is what I love. Like, this is not just, I know it's a pillow, yes, but it too still encompasses home decor. And that's, like, I could do that all day. Like, you're
Uh-huh.
talking about the thing that you can do for free, like that
Right.
that would be it for me. So I know that the importance of like a pillow can be the start of your design, or you could tailor everything around it. So I know how impactful a
Mhm.
decorative pillow can be in your home. And
Uh-huh.
so um we recently moved, and it took a little while for me to get some stuff together, and it was my family, and I'm in a house of all men, my husband
Ah,
and 2 sons, and they were waiting for me to get it together,
uh-huh.
like, they were waiting for me to style and do the things that they have been accustomed to seeing
Right.
within the space. So that's how I know, like, how impactful, like, pillows can definitely be within your space.
Right.
So, yeah,
Right. So
for
they were
sure.
waiting for you to set it up so it looks like home again.
Yeah, right.
It's like nice, nice. And I like the
Yeah.
language you use when you're describing the things that are challenging or struggling. Like no one wants to sign up for, certain feelings, and because a lot of times we can start thinking that our feelings are not legitimate, or
Yeah.
because we feel this way, um, it's not something we want to share with someone else because we should be positive and happy and glowing all the
Mhm.
time. And
Mhm.
that's not real life.
Yeah,
So
right.
just being able to find a language that allows us to realize why we are resisting something, right? Because it can be um, fear of failure, or it can
Mhm.
just be fear of being uncomfortable,
Yeah,
doing something new and different. But just find the language that allows us to express that and move beyond it,
right.
as
That's
opposed to
why
trying to.
community is so
Mhm.
important. Like,
Yeah.
community is very important, and being able to surround yourself, and again, to talking about it, right? Because, like, if you don't, if you don't talk about it, like, how would people know? How would people know? So it it's always going to be the want of the path of least resistance all the time. That's just your human nature.
Yes.
That's just what it is. But it's so fulfilling. Like, I remember when I got my first sale, like, for somebody to click on this website and add to cart and checkout, like, I
Yes.
probably was frozen. I was frozen in time because I'm like, oh my God, because it solidified for me that somebody believed in what it is that I was doing.
Yes.
And that you can take that feeling, from the beginning all the way till you reach every goal that you have for yourself.
Right.
So just always take it back to the beginning and defining, like, you knowing your why. Like, if you
Mhm.
know why you're doing it, you're never gonna stop,
Mm.
because you always want to get back to that point, like the why you started in the first place. So
Right.
talk through it. Definitely talk through it, because yes, I have been there. I have been there with, like, what am I doing? Like, I know my pillow cute over there, so in this inside, so, like, but me wanting to put a product out there, and also where to, like I say, I know you're not gonna find, and I think I put a post up like that once before. Like, I know you can go here, but you won't find this,
Uh-huh.
because it's the truth. So just go back to the beginning.
Got
Yeah.
it. Got it. Beautiful. Beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank
We are
you.
so happy that you decided to come and spend time with us today and talk
Thank you
about
for
your
having
entrepreneur journey and just be
me.
so open about things that you've experienced, what you've learned, how you've grown,
Mhm.
your goals for your business going forward. It's just wonderful.
Yeah.
So, in our closing,
Mhm.
um, I ask you four fun questions
Okay.
so that our audience can get to know the person,
Okay.
um, along with they've heard so much about the business mindset. So now they get to know the personal mindset.
Okay.
So my first question to you is, what was your favorite childhood game?
My favorite childhood game, I would say. the game Operation. Like, do you remember Operation? And not because I wanted to be a doctor, because that ain't it. Like, I can tell you that right now. It's based on the precision of that, the
Mm,
focus of that.
mm.
So, like, knowing that you have to use these tweezers to get this little thing out of here, and if you don't, it's gonna beep or buzz or whatever it is. It was the concentration of that. So, and I think to this day, that's probably why, like, I'm so meticulous about things. Like, I
Ah,
read the fine print. I
uh-huh.
don't like, if you're blasting something like, come over here and get this $1 million. But if you have that little small print at the bottom, I'm not looking at your big sign. I'm looking at the bottom, because that's the point, that's the preciseness of your message, right?
Yes, yes.
So, Operation.
Got it, got
Yeah.
it. Nice.
Yeah.
What would you say is your superpower?
My superpower. Ooh. Oh, wow. What is my superpower? I would say, um, let me think. Probably thinking that I could do everything. That's probably the problem. That's probably the problem. That's what my husband said. I'll put a roof on if I could. So that probably would be it. And I think I was applying wallpaper once, and I said that in the video. I said that, let me show y'all what my superpower is, because I don't I don't talk about that a lot, because even with like designing pillows and all that or whatever, like, I like to DIY things as
Uh-huh.
well. So I would think that that's what thinking that I could do anything. Like, that's
Okay.
it, right?
Okay. If you can have a conversation with any person
Mhm.
at any time in history,
Yeah.
um, who would you choose to speak to?
Wow. I would say my grandmother's mother.
Oh,
I would say my grandmother's mother, because generationally that would be the first person that I never met, right? Like,
okay.
to talk about your lineage.
Ah,
So knowing her would have more exposure to how I became to be.
gotcha.
So generationally, my grandmother's mother. That's
Okay.
what I would say. Just to know my history, like, to
Right.
know, that side of my family, and to know how I became to exist through my mother, of course. Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay. If you could be remembered for one thing, what would you want that to be?
Uh, I would say knowing, just being able to rest in knowing that if I did it, I did my absolute best.
Mm,
Like, for that to not be a doubt in any capacity. So, like, if anything that you put your mind to, if you are, for me specifically, that I try my best to operate in a spirit of excellence. So,
mm,
with that being said, if you had to remember me, if I did it, you know that I did it with everything in me. That's what
mm,
I would want to be remembered for. Yeah.
mm. Very nice, very
Mhm.
nice. Well, thank you again for being with
Thank
us
you.
today. We
Yeah.
were blessed with your presence. We
Thank you very
appreciate
much.
you. Wishing you the best of wellness, the best of joy, health, and wealth in your business.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much.
You're very welcome.